where we see the convergence of history, archaeology, and the immensely important stories of endurance and resistance against injustice, is the right place to build a basement entertainment district. At the National Trust, we firmly believe Shockoe Bottom should be protected against incompatible redevelopment and treated as a site of conscience, a place that activates the power of place of memory to engage the public in connecting past and present to shape a more just and humane future. With the full engagement of community, and especially the region's African American descendant communities, the appropriate commemoration of Shockoe Bottom can help to expand understanding and inspire hope. A positive result depends upon the meaningful involvement of the public, of our preservation partners, and our national audience. So I'm here today because Shockoe Bottom is an endangered national treasure, and the National Trust is honored to be joining with leading preservation groups here at this event, especially our long-term partner, Preservation Virginia, in their dedicated efforts to save this important site. And I'm very proud to be here today to announce that the National Trust for Historic Preservation has named Shockoe Bottom to our 2014 list of America's 11 most endangered historic places. Our annual 11 Most Endangered list brings much needed national attention to this nationally significant historic site and to threatened places nationally across the country. Shockoe Bottom joins Frank Lloyd Wright's Spring House in Tallahassee, Florida, and the scenic cliffs of the Palisades along the Hudson River across from New York City on this year's list. It's very important. Today, we invite members of the Richmond community and our national preservation community to amplify the call to save Shockoe Bottom by sharing this message with Mayor Jones and the Richmond City Council. To those of you who join me at the podium, leaders for the Preservation Virginia, Elegba Folklore Society, RVA Archaeology, and the Solomon Northup Foundation, we thank you for your public support and for your advocacy for the preservation of this significant place. To many of you in the audience who have dedicated countless hours to this worthy cause, thank you. Your efforts have helped to elevate the importance of this place in immeasurable ways. We hope the National Trust's designation of Shockoe Bottom as one of America's 11 most endangered historic places in 2014, and as one of our national treasures, where the National Trust is making a deep organizational investment to secure this future, will prove to be powerful tools for continuing to raise awareness and help rally resources and support to save this endangered site so that generations to come can learn about the hard lessons of what happened here at Shockoe Bottom. May the legacy of our ancestors be remembered and live on here forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Germany. Those were powerful words, and we appreciate them. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Kim Allen. Inspired by her memories of growing up in Richmond and her ancestry that traces back to the enslaved men and women of the nearby Henrico Plantation, Dr. Allen co-organized a symposium in March that inspired the founding of RVA Archaeology. Dr. Allen.
Good morning. Great-Grandma Kim, what did you do to help preserve our history? Well, one of our great teachers said that a people without knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots. Another said that we should read Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. She said that what history teaches you about you and what you can do is your own acres of diamonds. So I will repeat the question. What did you do to try to preserve our history? Now you're talking like your great-granddaddy, Chief Justice Allen Bronson. Then I'd say, when I was a girl, Every Saturday, my cousins and I would pile up in our granddaddy's station wagon that he affectionately called Sally, and take the breezy drive to Shockoe Bottom, down from up there on the hill on Mechanicsville Pike, near the corners of Red Street and T Street, just down the street from the old Purple Pit. And some of you know what I'm talking about. Who are you talking to, great-grandma? Snap it, child, I'm not through talking. Yes, ma'am, she'd say. I smile when I remember the ease with which Luther Allen, Dad as we called him, stopped at vegetable stalls that lined every inch of the 17th Street Market. He, along with other black men and women, old and young, picked and weighed pounds of collard greens, tomatoes, and sweet potatoes for the pan of mashed yams that he prepare and freeze every week. Around the corner from the watermelon stand, he'd stop at the hardware store. Then we'd stroll to 18th and Broad Streets to Branch's barber shop and have to sit deathly still while Mr. Branch cropped and lined Dad's tired old gray hair. He felt comfortable in Shockoe Bottom. It was an extension of his home and where he'd exchange hard-earned money for food and other goods and services. After over 20 years of studying and working in various places across the country, I returned home to Richmond in 2008. I sat in a cafe at the corner of 17th and Main Streets, and as I looked around and felt around, I realized that I had been inside that building many times before with Dad. I remember thinking, how would he feel now? Would he be comfortable sitting here with me in this cafe? Why does the struggle over the future of Shockoe Bottom resonate with me? Not until 40 years later, and I'm talking to you all now, a mere 6 months ago, did I learn of another history of Shockoe Bottom. That there are other memories buried just below the surface that tell a complex story of just how my grandfather, and thousands more like him, like me, got to Shockoe Bottom in the first place. That's the story of enslavement and the still untold stories of what life was like for men, women, and children who were bought, bred, and sold right here in this place, throughout this place. As community conversations about this history sprang up all over the place, the word archaeology kept popping up in the paper and on the news. But where were the archaeologists? I made it my mission to bring archaeologists to the table, to give them a platform to speak, to share, and to have a meaningful role in this conversation. Why is archaeology important? First, archaeology can help us better understand ourselves and the lives of those who lived before us. It is these stories that are locked away in objects, buried underground, and written on the landscape in plain sight. Second, community archaeology engages communities, everyday people, in the planning and execution of research projects that are of direct interest to them. It gives us, you and I, an opportunity to ask the questions and seek answers to questions that are important to us. Archaeology can help us discover who we are, who we were, and it's a tool that can help shape the future of who we can be. I want to thank the National Trust, Preservation Virginia, concerned citizens, and the mayor for your commitment to an archaeology of Shockoe Bottom and to the telling of our many as yet untold stories. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. 12 Years a Slave details Solomon Northrop's life as a free man, kidnapped and sold into slavery. While ultimately gaining his freedom, his story describes the harsh injustices he and others endured. His short stay at a holding jail in Shockoe Bottom has made all the more real the need to understand the events and the stories of the people who passed through here. We are honored today to have with us Vera Williams, Solomon Northup's great-great-great-granddaughter. Ms. Williams is founder and president of the Solomon Northup Foundation.
The Shockoe Bottom area in Richmond, Virginia is important because of the incredible historical significance it holds for our country. Many African American slaves passed through or died and were buried here during the slavery era in this country. As the founder of the Solomon Northup Foundation and a descendant, it is difficult to express in words how it feels to have the opportunity to stand in the same area as our ancestor Solomon Northup described in his memoir, 12 Years a Slave. Other Americans should be afforded that same opportunity to stand in the footsteps of their ancestors. Solomon Northup, on behalf of your descendants, the National Trust, Preservation Virginia, and all other friends who are concerned about this area and your legacy, your experience will not be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara, and thank all of you. I'd now like to invite Ms. Bell to offer a traditional Yoruba praise song in closing.
In the Yoruba cosmology of West Africa and the Yoruba up here in southwest Nigeria, parts of Benin and Togo, there are spiritual energies who are keepers of the ancestors, the Egungun. And this song is a song about Egun. Egumbale oh, egumbale oh, egumbale, egumbale oh. Egumbale oh, egumbale oh, egumbale, egumbale oh, egumbale, egumbale oh. And so because this is an African thing, that means that we're in community. And so I want to teach you the song. If you can repeat the words after me, unless there are those of you who are already proficient in Yoruba. Egunba Leo. Egunba Leo. Egunba Le. Egunba Leo. Okay, so the African proverb says if you can talk, then you can sing. So in the tradition of call and response, I'm going to sing a line and I'm going to ask you to sing it after me. Egumba Leo, Egumba Leo, Egumba Le, Egumba Leo, Egumba Leo, Egumba Leo, Egumba Le, Egumba Leo, Egumba Le, Egumba Leo.
Janine, thank you so much. You've provided the spirit for this event, and we very much